Assalamu alaikum. After the first part of Surah al-Bayyinah has condemned the two types of unbelievers who reject Allah's Messenger Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and the Qur'an, the latter part of the surah proceeds to elucidate the terrible eternal punishment in hellfire for unbelievers unbelievers, censured as the most evil of creatures, contrasting their fate with the blissful, everlasting afterlife of sincerely pious believers who are commended as the best of all creatures. Unquestionably, those who refuse faith, both of the people of the book and of those who associate, are in the fire of hell, living therein immortally. Those are the ones who are the worst of creation. Indeed, those who believe and perform acts of righteousness are the ones who are the best of creation. Their reward and the care and keeping of their Lord is luxuriant gardens of eternal residence, underneath which rivers flow, living therein immortally forever and ever. Allah is well pleased with them, and they're well pleased with Him. That is for those who stand in reverential fear of their Lord. As conventional in the Qur'an, the mention of unbelievers is juxtaposed with the mention of believers. And the description of hell or of punishment is juxtaposed with the description of the Jannah or of reward. Good versus evil, day versus night, male versus female, and so on, with dualistic opposites and or parallels, thus brought side by side or face to face all the time. Through this stylistic technique, contrast is created and maximized, and the lesson that is learned from the context is magnified for people who contemplate the words of Allah. And this is what we have in the present instance. إن الذين كفروا في نار جهنم خالدين فيها أولئك هم شر البرية إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية. There's another remarkable point to notice at this denotative level of meaning of the passage at hand. In the description of believers' reward, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, جَزَاؤُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ جَنَّاتٍ, which Qur'an translators almost unanimously render as their reward with their Lord is gardens. جَزَاؤُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ, translated almost unanimously as their reward with their Lord is Jannat, gardens. Well, to be sure, عند ربهم may be understood to mean with their Lord, considering عند to mean in the possession of, as when saying قلمك عندي, your pen is with me. But if understood to mean this, what would the significance of this prepositional phrase be, when everybody agrees that there is no redundancy at all in the Qur'anic language? What's the point of saying their reward in the possession of their Lord is gardens, instead of their reward is gardens? Indeed, the powerful overtone of inda in this context is not so much related to possession as much as it should be sensed as referring to Allah's kind and generous care and keeping. I therefore translate the sentence at this sub-basic level as their reward in the care and keeping of their Lord is gardens. But notice that those are not any gardens. Those jannat, plural of jannah. Rather, the singular noun, jannah, does not stand for any garden at random, but rather specifically for a luxuriant garden, one with big and thick trees and with dense underwood behind or amidst which one may go out of sight, yastajin, as we say in Arabic, meaning disappear or hide. It is interestingly the same root for the word jinn, those creatures that yastajin, that are invisible, are out of sight for us. And it is also the same root for the word janeen, which stands for a fetus, meaning a baby that is hidden. Interestingly, moreover, with only 2 ayahs separating the 2 opposite cases, while unbelievers and hypocrites are promised hellfire, khalidina fiha, living therein immortally, good doers, on the other hand, good-doing believers, on the other hand, are promised luxuriant gardens, khalidina fiha abada, living therein immortally, forever and ever. Notice the addition of the word abada, forever and ever, which serves to maximally reconfirm believers' immortality therein and the perpetuity of their bliss. A final comment about the last sentence in the surah is that the Qur'anic text literally says, ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ خَشِيَ رَبَّهُ, that is for him who stands in reverential fear of his Lord, with a singular male pronoun. But it is a fact about Arabic that unless contextually clear to be gender specific, a male pronoun is naturally inclusive of both genders. The latter part of Surah al-Bayyinah repeats the same descriptive classification of unbelievers found at the surah's outset. The first ayah begins with the emphatic tool inna, and so does the second ayah beginning with inna. Hence, unquestionably, indeed. So, unquestionably, those who refuse faith, who cover up and conceal and choose to be ungrateful, as we have seen from the discussion of the first part. Those who refuse faith, who cover up and conceal and choose to be ungrateful, both of the people of the books and of those who associate whatsoever beings or entities with Allah, are doomed to stay in the fire of hell, living therein immortally. Those are the ones who are the worst of all beings in the whole of creation. And there at once follows the contrasting picture, abruptly, without any linking words, employing the same sentence structure and even the exact wording, except for the replacement of the adjective with its perfect opposite. So, once again, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أولئك هم شر البرية إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية إن الذين كفروا أولئك هم شر البرية شر البرية and إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية. Indeed, those who believe and constantly perform acts of righteousness are the ones who are the best of all beings in the whole of creation. Notice the structural reversal here. The delay of the description of believers' reward for the purpose of accentuating, of concentrating the effect of juxtaposition. So after telling us that they are the best of creation, we're told their reward is, we said, in Allah's care and keeping. Though without forgetting, at the same time, the implication that Allah alone has absolute ownership and power over everything. Therefore, their reward in the full possession and the generous care and good keeping of Allah, who instead of being explicitly named is described as Rabbihim, their Rabb, their benevolent Lord, creator, nurturer and loving guardian. So their reward is Jannat, luxuriant gardens. But those are not like any other luxuriant gardens for visiting or for temporary residence, but rather Jannatu Adnin, luxuriant gardens of eternal residence, underneath which rivers nimbly flow, tajri, which literally means run, living therein immortally, forever and ever. There, Allah is well pleased with them, and they are well pleased with Him. ذَلِكَ, that reward. But let's stop here for a moment. Why not this amazing picture of utmost bliss, this state described right here, just now described? Why that, we may wonder. You see, ذَلِكَ, which is normally a distal demonstrative, distal pointing to a distant thing, together with ذَلِكَ, ذَلِكُمْ, تِلْكَ, تِلْكُمْ, all generally equivalent to the English that for distance, but it is noticeably used for reference to what has just been mentioned, to what is near, instead of the proximal or near demonstrative هذا, this. Remarkably, this rhetorical technique is used in Arabic to connotatively add a touch of aggrandizement, to hint at the extreme nature or the extraordinary quality of the thing pointed at, be that out of the way goodness or exceptional badness. Therefore, my translation of the demonstrative ذَلِكَ at this particular instance goes, that reward so far in excellence is only for those who stand in reverential fear of their all-glorious Lord, Creator, Nurturer, and Sovereign Owner. Unquestionably, those who refuse faith are the biggest losers. Those who cover up the truth rationally realizable to them and conceal the fitrah, the natural disposition of innate virtuousness ingrained in them, and intuitively urging them to submit to Allah as the one and only Lord and Deity, and by doing so choose to be ungrateful to Allah for all His countless favours, both of the people of the formally revealed books, Jews and Christians, and of those who associate whatsoever beings or entities with Allah in His lordship and His divinity, especially polytheists of Arabia. For they of both types are similarly and deservedly doomed to stay in the blazing fire of hell, living therein immortally. Those are the ones who are the worst of all beings in the whole of creation, due to their willful rejection of the truth, for the purpose of recognizing which Allah has blessed them as humans with exceptional rationality and spirituality. Indeed, those who genuinely and dutifully believe in Allah as the one and only Lord and Deity, follow His Messenger Muhammad, and hence in wholehearted commitment to His commandments, constantly perform sincere and accurate acts of righteousness in His cause, all acts of worship that are compulsory, plus an abundance of voluntary righteous deeds, and stay away from what He has forbidden, are the ones who are the best of all beings in the whole of creation. Their reward in the full possession and the generous care and good keeping of their benevolent Lord, Creator, Nurturer, and loving Guardian is luxuriant gardens of eternal residence, underneath the palaces and trees of which rivers nimbly flow, living therein immortally, forever and ever in endless bliss. There Allah is well pleased with them, for He has always witnessed their firm and true faith, their willing submission to Him, their constant performance of good deeds in His cause, and the generous sacrifices that they made in order to attain His pleasure while they lived their earthly life. And they, having always been well pleased with Him as their all-giving, almighty Lord and Guardian, are then and for all eternity well pleased with Him for the guidance and the steadfastness and faith that He blessed them with during their earthly life, for every detail of the fate that He all wisely chose for them, for His forgiveness of their sins and failings, and for the endless bliss that He has generously bestowed upon them. That reward, so far in excellence, is only for those who, throughout the earthly life, stand in reverential fear of their all-glorious Lord, Creator, Nurturer, and Sovereign Owner, and hence fully submit to Him, sincerely worship Him as their one and only Deity, and hence devotedly obey Him and dutifully avoid what He has forbidden.